Hi everyone, today we are going to present our artificial meat project. It is supervised by Professor Liu and Mr. Poon. I'm Emily Wong.
And I'm Victoria Ng. Firstly, I will briefly talk about our background of this project. In this day and age, being a vegetarian is becoming more prevalent due to not only health concerns, but also the great amount of methane emission during the production of meat, contributing to the global warming. There's a huge demand for the study of the optimization of artificial meat. Beyond Meat and Impossible Food are the two biggest brands producing these meats currently, and their products have been quite successful. And we are eager to dive into the investigation of these meats, focusing on the texture of it. For our objective, we found that these brands use beans in their recipes, and therefore we try to merge different recipes and combine them into our final recipe at the end. We hope that we can lower the price as well as little more people to try this future meat.
Before our phase 1 study, we have did a lot of desk research. We've compared the Impossible Burger's recipe and Beyond's Burger recipe. We found out that both of them use the bean protein and also hemoglobins or juice extract for the product's color. In a phase 1 study, we searched few recipes in the internet, and we have done some tests on it. For the recipe 1, the major ingredients is mushroom roots, soybean, and brown rice. They have a similar look with a real meat, however, they are really soft.
For recipe 2, the main ingredient is chickpea powder, yeast, and flour. And the result is too soft and chewy like rice cake. For recipe 3, we use black bean for the main ingredients and other vegetables as well. The result is that it looks very similar to a steak and has a similar texture as well. So our conclusion is that compared with 3 tested recipe, we found that recipe 3 has the best texture and will be used in the phase 2 study.
In our phase 2 study, we will change 3 major ingredients, such as gluten, mushroom, and black bean. We will apply the most optimal proportion in the rest of the test. We find out that we have to improve the texture, color, and taste. In recipe 2, we found out that gluten can give the chewiness, and we will simply add red pigment as the color. For the taste, we find out that mixing of peanut butter and Japanese miso can create a taste which is really similar with meat. We carry out the following basic mixture. In our gluten proportion test, we will test percentage of gluten from 0 to 80%. All samples have really similar outlook with meat. However, sample D which is 60% of gluten, tastes like real meat the most, and also its texture is most similar. For our mushroom proportion test, we believe that blended or non-blended mushroom will affect the texture. So in sample 2, we cut mushroom into 3 cm lengths. All samples look like a real meat. However, non-blended mushroom has more similar texture. In the test B, we will use non-blended mushroom to carry out the proportion test. We will try the percentage of mushroom from 20 to 50. The results is you can see the mushroom appears in the sample. And for sample C, which is 40% of mushroom, it tastes like the real meat the most.
Applying the results from the previous 2 tests, we carry out the black bean proportion test. We use the percentage of black bean from 10% to 50%. And at last, we found that sample D with 60%, with 40% of black bean tastes like the real meat the most. The texture is most meat-like with the chewiness and hardness.
After series of tests, we conduct the final recipe as below. We have test recipe, proportion of gluten, mushroom, and black beans, and we apply the most optimal proportion into this recipe. Now we are going to share our reflection. Before, I think experiments is really easy. But however, after this project, I found out that I have many things which I have to manage. Also, I learned how to balance efficient and experiment accuracy. At the phase 1 studies, we divide the test into 2 parts, and it is not accurate. After receiving professors' comments, we decide one teammate in charge of one ingredient test. Also, the technology of artificial meat is still not really well developed. It is hard to find information in detail.
For me, I think this experience is very different from those experiments from school, which we only do experiments based on the 2-step textbooks procedure. And this time we can carry out a brand new experience based on our interests and the objectives that we want to know about. And this experience is very special for me because we can receive the suggestion and comments from the professors, and then we refine it every time. And I think this whole experience is very beneficial for us to do the future, no matter job or other future studies. I think it's very beneficial. Thank you. And we also want to thank you, the guardians from Professor Liu and Mr. Poon. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you.